Hey guys, tonight we are stepping back into a world where luxury doesn't exist, comfort is a foreign concept, and your alarm clock is a literal rooster or a cold gust of wind cutting through your wall. Picture this. It's the year 1348 and you are not a brave knight or a wealthy lord. No, you are a medieval peasant. And let's be entirely honest here. You probably won't survive this day. It is a life of endless, back-breaking monotony, and tonight we are going to live every single exhausting minute of it together. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Go ahead and drop your location and local time in the comments below. I always love seeing where in the world you are listening from as the night rolls in. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You open your eyes. There is no soft mattress beneath you, no crisp linen sheets, and definitely no snooze button. Instead, you are lying on a thin, coarse sack stuffed with rotting straw and dried ferns, resting directly on a hard-packed dirt floor. Your back aches with a familiar dull throb from yesterday's labor, but the day doesn't care about your spine. The air inside your small one-room hovel is bitterly cold and thick with a hazy, choking fog. This isn't morning mist. It's the trapped smoke from last night's dying fire, which has nowhere to go because your home doesn't have a chimney. Instead, the smoke lazily escapes through a small hole in the thatched roof, leaving a permanent, soot-covered film over everything you own. You shiver violently as you sit up, the damp chill of a European dawn sinking deep into your bones. To your left, a rustling sound reminds you that you aren't alone. In the far corner of the room, your family's prized possession, a thin, shivering cow and two scrawny pigs, are waking up. Sharing your living room with livestock might sound like a nightmare, but in the Middle Ages, it's a tactical survival strategy. The body heat from these animals is quite literally the only thing keeping the room above freezing temperatures during the brutal winter and early spring months. Scholars still argue whether this intense proximity to livestock directly accelerated the spread of zoonotic diseases within peasant villages, but to you, it's just a matter of staying warm. You don't change your clothes because you only own one outfit. You sleep in the exact same rough wool tunic and linen undergarments that you wear to the fields every single day. They are stained with sweat, ingrained with mud, and heavily infested with fleas and lice. Scratching your arms absent-mindedly, you pull on your rough leather shoes, which have no left or right distinction and are held together by simple thongs of rawhide. Outside, the first faint, pale grey light of dawn begins to bleed through the tiny, unglazed window openings of your cottage. There is no glass here. Glass is an astronomical luxury reserved exclusively for grand cathedrals and royal palaces. Instead, your window is just a narrow slit in the daub wall, covered by a piece of oiled linen or a thick wooden shutter that you now push open, letting a blast of freezing morning air slap you fully awake. Mainstream historical facts tell us that the vast majority of the European population during this medieval era belonged to this peasant class, bound to the land and the whims of the local nobility. You are a serf, legally tied to the estate, meaning you cannot leave the village, marry or change your profession without the express permission of your lord. Your entire existence is measured by the cycle of the sun and the changing of the seasons. You look around the dim room, your stomach letting out an aggressive, hollow growl. The fire needs to be revived from the glowing embers buried beneath the ash. You kneel on the cold dirt, blowing gently on the coals until a tiny orange flame catches a piece of dried dung or a small twig. There is no running water, so you grab a heavy wooden bucket, bracing yourself for the first chore of the day. You step out of the doorway, your feet sinking instantly into the freezing, slick mud of the village lane. The air smells heavily of wood smoke, animal manure, and damp earth. You walk briskly toward the village well, your hands numbing as they grip the rough hemp rope to haul up the water. This water isn't for a refreshing morning shower. It's strictly for cooking and keeping the livestock alive. As you carry the heavy bucket back to your hovel, you notice your neighbors emerging from their own dark, thatched huts like dazed ghosts in the twilight. No one speaks. It is too early, too cold, and everyone is saving their precious energy for the fields. You pour some of the water into a dented iron pot hanging over the small fire. It's time for breakfast, though calling it that is an insult to modern cuisine. Your morning meal is a bowl of pottage, a thick, lukewarm, watery stew that has been slowly simmering in that same pot for days, if not weeks. Every day, your family simply adds whatever is available to the pot, mostly dried peas, oats, a few cabbage leaves, and perhaps some wild herbs foraged from the wayside. If you are incredibly lucky, there might be a tiny scrap of rancid bacon fat floating on top to give it a hint of flavor, but today is not a lucky day. You eat the bland, mushy mixture with a crudely carved wooden spoon, washing it down with a swig of weak, sour ale. You don't drink the water you just fetched from the well. Experience has taught your village that drinking raw water often leads to a swift, painful death from waterborne illnesses, even if you don't understand the science behind it. An odd and quirky detail of medieval life is that ale was considered a staple food item rather than an intoxicating beverage, consumed by men, women, and even young children throughout the day because the fermentation process made it infinitely safer than the local river. It's low in alcohol but high in yeast and calories, providing the raw energy your body desperately needs to survive the physical torment ahead. You finish the last drop of your sour breakfast, wiping your mouth with the back of your sleeve. The sun is now clearing the horizon, casting long, dramatic shadows across the valley. The church bell begins to toll in the distance, a somber, heavy sound that acts as the universal clock for your entire community. It's time to work. You grab your heavy, iron-tipped spade from the corner, feel the rough, splintered wooden handle bite into the calluses of your hands, and prepare to step into the grueling reality of the feudal system. You take one deep, steadying breath of the smoky air, knowing that the next time you sit down, the sun will have long deserted the sky.